Breaking news! What if I told you that the Denver Broncos just made one of the boldest offseason statements in the entire NFL without even signing a superstar or pulling off a blockbuster trade? What if I told you that 4 players who couldn't make our final 53-man roster were immediately signed by other teams? And that's just the beginning of the story. Something's brewing in Denver, and it's not just hype anymore. It's real, and it's unfolding right now, quietly, strategically, under the leadership of Sean Payton. There's a shift happening in the league, and not enough people are paying attention to what's going on in the Mile High City. The Broncos are moving different this year. Sean Payton just proved he's playing chess while the rest of the AFC West is still stuck on checkers. What's happening behind the scenes is unlike anything we've seen in years. And if you're still sleeping on this team, you might want to wake up, because other NFL franchises certainly aren't. They're watching closely. They're poaching. They're trying to copy. But what Payton's building, that can't be duplicated. Stick around, because I'm about to lay out exactly why the Denver Broncos might be the most dangerous sleeper in the entire NFL. But before I go any further, make sure you smash that like button if you've been rocking the orange and blue since the days of Mile High Magic. And hey, if you're a true fan, drop this in the comments. Go Broncos! My heart bleeds orange and blue. Now, let's get right into it. Sean Payton told Yahoo News before training camp that this is one of only 6 teams he's coached that he believes can make the Super Bowl. That wasn't just hype. After the preseason and seeing his players in action, he didn't go scouring the waiver wire for help after final cuts. That confidence says it all. And it's not blind faith. Payton's decision-making was tested during cutdowns, where his meeting with George Payton to finalize the roster took 6 full hours. Compare that to his first year, where those discussions lasted only 1 or 2 hours. This roster is deep, and trimming it was no easy task. But here's what makes it even more impressive. Payton didn't just make bold cuts, he made the right calls. Some fans were shocked when inside linebacker Lavelle Bailey got cut, especially considering his potential to be a starting caliber player. But the decision was driven by Kareem Reed's elite value on special teams, a choice championed by special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi. It's all about balance. Payton showed he trusts the health and performance of guys like Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw enough to prioritize a special teams ace. And get this, Lavelle Bailey didn't hold a grudge. He had opportunities to sign elsewhere but chose to come back to Denver. That speaks volumes about the culture Payton is building. Another gamble that paid off? Caleb Lohner. Critics said drafting him was a waste. Yet he also came back to Denver, despite serious interest from other teams like the Titans and others during the draft process. That's not a coincidence. Players are buying in. And if you know Sean Payton, you know he's a master at elevating practice squad players onto the main stage. Lohner and Bailey are poised to be activated early in the season, potentially even week 1 against the Titans. These aren't just depth pieces, they're chess pieces in Payton's playbook. Speaking of strategic moves, let's talk fullbacks. Michael Burton was placed on long-term IR with a season-ending hamstring injury, which opens the door for Adam Prentice. Expect him to be called up from the practice squad immediately. Payton is going to need him in week 1, and with Nate Atkins likely missing that game, the timing couldn't be better. Prentice is just another example of how well this team is stocked at every level. And how about A.T. Perry? Another guy that fans were worried might get away after Devin Vele was traded. There simply aren't enough targets to go around in a Sean Payton offense that's expected to lean heavily on the run game. With Bo Nix under center, they won't need to throw 50 times a game. But Perry sticking around gives the team a dynamic insurance policy. If someone like Marvin Mims, Tim Patrick, Pat Bryant, or Cortland Sutton goes down, Perry is ready to step in and make an impact. Let's not forget the trenches. Offensive lineman Frank Crum has become one of the biggest surprises out of camp. The Broncos received 3 trade offers for him after his standout performance and freak athleticism at the Combine. He's close with Bo Nix, spotted courtside at Nuggets games and ringside at Avalanche games together, and he's now developing under the watchful eye of a coach who once protected Sean Payton's quarterbacks himself. The Broncos clearly have long-term plans for Crum, and fans should be excited about that. Now here's a move that showcases the kind of culture Sean Payton is building: Sam Ehlinger. The Broncos didn't carry 3 quarterbacks on the active roster, but they pulled off a slick maneuver by bringing Ehlinger back to the practice squad. That's not just clever roster management, it's a statement. Ehlinger had offers to be a QB2 elsewhere. That's millions of dollars on the table. But he chose to stay in Denver, knowing Bo Nix is the starter. Why? Because he believes in the system. Because he believes in Sean Payton. His last words in a press conference after the Saints game were, "Bo Nix is really good at football." That's the kind of culture shift we're witnessing. Critics who once called Denver a sinking ship are now eating their words. Players are choosing to stay, even after being cut. They want to be a part of what Sean Payton is building. And if that doesn't prove the direction of this franchise, I don't know what does. This is a team on the rise, and for the first time in a long time, it feels like everything is aligning. Let's pick up right where we left off, because this next part could have real implications for the Broncos' shot at reclaiming dominance in the AFC West. While Sean Payton and George Payton have been quietly assembling one of the deepest rosters in the NFL, things over in Kansas City have taken a serious turn. The NFL finally handed down a suspension to wide receiver Rashee Rice, 6 games for his involvement in a drunk driving incident and fleeing the scene. And while that in itself is justice being served, what makes this truly significant for Broncos fans is the timing. Initially, it looked like the suspension might get delayed due to appeals or hearings scheduled for late September. If that happened, Rice would have missed games deeper into the season, including the one against the Broncos. But now that the suspension is effective immediately, he'll serve those 6 games up front. That means he'll return just in time to start building chemistry with Mahomes again, but not before Kansas City faces a punishing gauntlet of games. Just look at their early schedule. They start with a wild card matchup in Brazil. That alone is a logistical nightmare. Then it's the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 games in New York, the Ravens, Jaguars, and Lions. All of these are 50-50 games at best without your WR1. Mahomes will be forced to rely on less experienced or inconsistent options, and if they don't start strong, the AFC West might finally be vulnerable. And if the Broncos are going to pounce, this is the window. This is the moment Sean Payton has been preparing for. His roster is deep, his culture is strong, and his quarterback room, centered around Bo Nix, is stable, committed, and all in. Just ask Sam Ehlinger. He could have been a backup QB somewhere else, made a lot more money, but chose to stay in Denver. Why? Because this team is building something special. There's a cohesion here we haven't seen in years. Even with roster cuts, the Broncos have kept their core intact and even managed to bring back talent that would have started on other teams. That's not just good front office work, that's a locker room players want to be a part of. Lavelle Bailey and Caleb Lohner returning, despite outside interest, is the clearest signal yet that players believe in Payton's vision. And look, we're not even talking about just stashing players. We're talking about potential contributors. Don't be surprised to see Bailey activated in Week 1 against the Titans. The same goes for fullback Adam Prentice. And once Nate Adkins is healthy, there's going to be flexibility to move these players around thanks to Payton's mastery of the practice squad rules. One of the biggest stories here, though, is Frank Crum. This guy had teams around the league trying to trade for him. That tells you how rare his combination of athleticism and upside really is. The Broncos didn't budge. They're developing him, grooming him, and it's clear they see him as part of the long-term solution. When was the last time we said that about a Broncos offensive lineman coming out of camp? Crum isn't just a name to remember, he's a name to watch closely. And let's give credit where it's due, Sean Payton was right, again. He said this team was deep. He said guys cut from this roster would end up on other teams. He said they had a real shot at the Super Bowl. And all the signs now are pointing in that direction. There's a belief in this team. From the front office to the players, there's alignment. And when that happens in the NFL, you get results. So here's the bottom line. The Broncos aren't just back, they're rising. And the timing couldn't be better. Kansas City is starting the season shorthanded, their schedule is brutal, and Denver is poised to hit the ground running. You've got depth at every position. You've got hungry players who chose to return. And you've got a head coach who has done this before and is doing it again. If you're a Broncos fan, this is your time. This is the kind of team you've been waiting for since the Super Bowl.